Welcome to Practical Talk Time. I'm your host, Usha Kumar. I have with me here Jara Burnett, who is the Director of League Services belonging to the League of Women Voters. And she's from Connecticut, and she has been going around trying to help all these other little leagues set up in all the different areas in Connecticut. I think formerly she used to also travel nationally trying to set up these leagues and keep things going, mainly because most of the people that are involved are volunteers. They have very few paid employees, and this is an excellent organization that tries to bring awareness to women and voting and the rights, and even about candidates. Today she's going to discuss a little bit more about all their educational programs. So please join me in welcoming Jara Burnett. Jara, welcome to this show.
Well, thank you. Nice to be here.
It was lovely chatting with you last week, and you gave a wonderful history of how women got the right to vote here in the USA.
95
and it's not
years
even,
ago.
Not even 100 years yet.
No, not yet.
For a country that's 240 years old. Could you tell us a little bit about your own background? How did you come to be involved with this group?
That's a very interesting thing. I was born in Prague and lived there through Second World War, and after the communist takeover in 1948, my family ultimately emigrated. We lived in France for a while and eventually emigrated to Canada. Then I decided to go to a year of graduate school.
So you finished all your schooling there?
Yes,
basically.
yes. And so I decided to go to a year of graduate school. And about the third week into the school year, I met my husband.
That's lovely.
And married him, and that's how I got into the United States.
Oh, I see.
So, yes, I...
And which program did you join in terms of education?
Well, this is another interesting thing. I wanted to go to the business school, but unfortunately...
The
Harvard Business School did not take women. They had created a one-year program that was co-sponsored by the business school and Radcliffe College. And that's where I went, Harvard-Radcliffe program in business administration.
I see. So the Harvard School did not admit women.
Not until a few of them could finally gain entry in 1964.
As late as that?
As late as that.
I see.
As late as that. But the reason I got interested in the League of Women Voters is that I have lived under several different regimes. When I was a little girl, it was Czechoslovakia. Then there was the war years where my country was under the Nazis. Then we had freedom again for a brief period of time. And the communist regime came.
Oh.
And then we lived in France, and then we lived in Canada.
And was it before the World Wars?
We left in 1949, so yes.
Okay, so it was just
after Second World War. So I have lived under a lot of regimes, and I wanted to find out more about it. And somebody suggested the League of Women Voters. So I have actually been active with the League of Women Voters even before I became a citizen.
I see.
I was an associate member of the League because it does require that you are a citizen. What I have learned through my participation is a lot about how the government works, and we, my colleagues in the League, try to inform people, make them more cognizant what goes on, how we are governed, and better informed about the issues of the day. That's our basic mission.
Yeah, just with my experience of chatting with you over the phone before the show, and the first show that we did, I know that you have so much information, so much knowledge in this area, and it's really my pleasure to bring you here on the show. So we can share all of your information with our viewers.
Okay, well, the first and foremost thing that we feel we do, though it is slightly less important now because there are other ways, was voter registration. The League has been doing voter registration basically from day one, from 1920. As time went on, it has become easier in certain places, certainly in Connecticut, to register to vote. Now you can register by mail, you can register online, you can register in person. There are many different ways. But years ago, and not so many years ago, you had to be sworn in right then and there. Now you can sign a form, what they call the motor voter, and it goes to the registrars of voters. You have to provide certain information, your name, address, last 4 digits of your social security number or your driver's license. And this application to become a voter then goes to the local registrar of voters, who will check it. You're not a voter yet, not until they have checked out that what you actually have put down is the correct information. When you sign this form, you basically attest that the information is correct.
So the age that you can vote is 18?
18 is the age. You can pre-register. If you become 18 by election day, you can fill this form out and you become a voter when your rights mature. So I think it's a very good system. It has allowed many more people. When you register your car at motor vehicle office, they have these forms available, and you can pick one up. And now, of course, for students who are, or younger people who are so attuned to the internet, you can pull it right off the internet.
When you help people to vote or register to vote, are you only helping the women, or you're just helping anyone?
Everybody, absolutely. I think we feel very strongly. If we had our druthers, we would have 100% participation. But that's not happening. In Connecticut, I think the registration, the level of registered voters is fairly good, but it is still only about 80% of those who are eligible.
I see. Why is that?
Why is that? Some people feel that if they register to vote, they're going to be called for jury duty.
I see.
But that's not the case. When you, the legal system, of course, need jurors all the time, but it's mostly from the motor vehicle list, from the driver's license list.
It's not from the voters list.
No, it's not your voter registration.
I see. And I think some people think that they don't have the time to go to the elections to vote.
Correct. We have a little bit of help for those people because you can vote by absentee. Now that is a very special thing because you can only vote by absentee ballot if you're not present in your community for the 16 hours of election time. That is one of the League issues. We feel that it would be good if you would have no excuse absentee voting, so that if you felt you might be going out of time but you weren't sure, so that you wouldn't lose your vote, you could vote ahead of time. It's a form of early voting.
Okay. I have a question for your group and for you. There have been stories around the nation about some people getting disenfranchised.
Yes.
And redistricting to manipulate voting and the election outcomes. What do you think about it?
There's no question that there is a lot, not a lot, but there's some of this going on. Elections are a responsibility of the state. So even though there are some mandates by the federal government, the 19th Amendment was a mandate by the federal government to states that they had to organize it so that women could vote. But the state selects the system and the method by which they register voters. Now, in certain states, and maybe we shouldn't point fingers, in certain states, they have made recently rules that your name on the rolls that they have has to be exactly the same as the ID that you present. Okay. So, for instance, if you are listed as with a middle initial on the rolls, and you don't have middle initial on your driver's license, you could perhaps not be able to vote. Yeah. That's one way. Voter ID is a big issue also. We don't have it luckily in Connecticut, but other states have prescribed a very specific form of state issue voter ID, which on the surface of it is not such a bad idea. But if you work all day, if you do not drive,
yes,
you may not be able to get to town hall to pick this up.
Exactly. I think I know for sure that in Danbury there are people that leave very early in the morning to go to work in New York City.
Right.
And then they are not back until quite late at night. And so they can't vote. They just cannot vote.
They would not be able to vote if they didn't use an absentee ballot. But a lot of people don't know about absentee ballots. Yeah. And that is one of the things that we do.
But one has to go ahead of time and request a form.
Yes, it's a two-step process. We have this pamphlet, 3 ways, it's Spanish and English, 3 ways to handle election days and 5 days.
No, this camera is yours.
This camera is mine. Actually, this happens to be the Spanish.
I see. Hold on to the
piece of information.
Again, focus into it.
But it basically tells you how you can get through election day as quickly.
Hold it steady so you can.
Okay, and as rapidly as possible. Okay. So it tells you that when
they can go and apply for one and get the form and submit it at a certain time.
When you know that you will not be in town during the hours that the polls are open.
And they have to mail it in, or
yes, you can request. You request an application to get an absentee ballot. Once again, you can telephone and have it mailed to you. You can pick up the application online too. You can download it. You fill the application out. If you are a student away from home, you can request that and have that particular, your ballot, mailed to you at your college address. It's a 2-step process.
I think it helps. It's okay where they are away in college or away on a trip. But then it becomes a problem if they do live in a house here and they're leaving home early and then coming back in the evening. They are not able to do that.
Yes, they are. If they are absent from the home, from the town, between 8 a.m. in the morning and 8 o'clock at night, yes, you qualify for an absentee ballot. The problem is if you travel on business, and sometimes you don't know that you're going to travel.
Yes.
And you find out Friday night that you're not going to be here.
Monday, Tuesday,
It's too late to get an absentee ballot because it has to be returned to you. The only way you can do that is if you then visit your town hall and you can do the whole thing all at once. But many people cannot do it because they're already at work.
Yes.
So you have to plan ahead in order to vote absentee.
Yeah, on races that are very close, I think people do take that extra effort.
Yes, I think, I personally believe that everybody should vote. everybody's responsibility is to get as informed as possible. Now, you and I may disagree. Maybe you think that if you're not informed, you shouldn't vote.
No, I'm talking about those people who are not bothered to.
Oh,
They don't take any effort to know the
Right.
candidates, to know what's going on, and they don't want to bother to go and vote.
well,
Then I said, oh, maybe it's just as well, you know.
well,
But it should be their responsibility. You know,
Definitely.
the right to vote just doesn't come like that. It comes with some responsibility.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, what the League does is we publish, many of our local chapters publish a voter's guide. It is totally nonpartisan. We do not endorse any candidates. We invite the candidates at the same time to send the information to us so that we can publish it close to election day. So that if you have a local election and there are 3 or 4 candidates, let's say for mayor, they are all asked the same question. We make sure that their bios are exactly the same length. If somebody's bio is longer, we just cut it off at the word count so that everybody is treated exactly the same.
You mean the candidates?
The candidate.
Okay.
Every candidate is treated exactly the same as his opponents. And I think that, you ask, why are we still relevant? I think that is our relevance. We serve the voters. We don't serve the candidates. We ask the candidates for the information so that the voter can be informed.
So you collect the information
Yes.
from the candidates?
From the candidates.
Relevant information.
Yes, and of course it is, we ask questions that we feel will deal with an issue that is important to the community where the election is being held.
Nowadays, with all the media and all of the money poured into negative ads and whatever else ads they try to present to the public in order to sway people in one way or the other using psychological research and language. I think it's important to bring the real information about the candidates because that is really lost upon everyone.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we certainly feel that way. It's, when the candidate is allowed to present himself or herself only in the very best light, that's not the real information that the voters need.
Yes. Also, nowadays, people don't read the printed newspaper anymore.
True.
So the circulation numbers have gone down tremendously. However, the online versions are there for people to read.
Yes.
So again, voters get a lot of the information online. Is there anything that you have in your website where it's a more fair presentation of the candidates?
Yes, we do that. We post our voters' guide online on our website, www.lwvct
LWVCT.
LW League of Women Voters of Connecticut.
Okay.
LWVCT at lwvct.org.
Okay.
Same email, the website too, and we post. Unfortunately, the state office doesn't do a voter's guide for local elections, but we do it for the state elections and presidential elections, federal state
ones.
and federal elections, yes.
I see.
Our local chapters, though, do for local elections.
Okay.
And we're just gearing up for that because there are many more candidates on the local level than there are on the state.
Since I had not heard about this group here in Connecticut, after living here for decades, 3
Shame
decades.
on us. We should be better.
So I'm wondering why it was having such a low profile, and what are they doing now to present themselves to the people and be of more use?
I think part of a problem with an organization that is almost 95 years old is that we have gotten a little bit inbred. we perhaps don't reach out to the world at large, and maybe we talk too much to each other, which is not what we should be doing. So we are trying very hard to overcome this bad habit and to reach out to the community, because perhaps we are a little too proud, but we feel that we're needed because we provide an honest, nonpartisan information to the voter, and in this day and age, we feel that's very important. So we're going into the new media, not so new anymore, posting all sorts of information online, doing a show like that.
I do hope our viewers call in or write to us, wanting to know more, or even wanting to volunteer in your organization.
That would be wonderful. We
I think it'll be a good
men and
track.
Women.
Yeah, especially since men can join this too. It's not just for women, right?
1974.
Yeah, I hope you can have your new educational programs for the young voters that are staying away from voting.
Well, there's one thing that the League does do, and that is we have created probably about 12 years ago a special half-semester program for high schools that has become a state law in Connecticut, that every high school senior has to have this half semester of political education at the school. We have created...
Oh, they got rid of civics and now they brought this back.
So we have created this
that's
half
interesting
semester
to know.
of civics.
Okay.
We have created the curriculum. And actually, it was a person here from Danbury who worked on the curriculum that was eventually approved by the State Department of Education. We also assist the registrars. That is another thing that Connecticut does. The registrars of voters, and there are 2 in each town, are mandated by state law to go to the high schools during the month of May to register voters, students.
Oh, I see.
And we help them.
Oh, I see, for the high school students.
So every senior basically has an opportunity to register as a senior at their high school, so they don't even have to disturb themselves.
Yeah, I hope they also watch our show on the history.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Of women's voting, yeah.
I would hope so. We try to go out to high schools to, there's a wonderful movie called Iron-Jawed Angels with Hilary Swank that describes sort of the role that Alice Paul played in the final years of the struggle. And we'd like to have some of the students here see it.
How can people join your organization? Is it just they can just come and volunteer, or can they become members?
They can become members by the easiest thing is calling the office at 203-288-7996. And the person in the office can direct them to the proper chapter in the state, or you can become a member at large, which means that it's
free. Membership is free?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Membership depends on the various local leagues. Certain leagues have more expenses than others, and so forth. But it's in the realm of anywhere between $40
so it's like any organization where you
it's
join.
A membership
you have to
organization.
Okay, but anyone can volunteer. They don't have to be a member to volunteer.
Absolutely. And again, the office in Hamden is the clearinghouse.
Where is that?
Our main office is in Hamden.
Okay, Hamden, Connecticut.
Hamden, Connecticut. Yes, the Connecticut.
It's also called the League of Women Voters?
Yeah, 203-288-7996.
Oh, that's very interesting. I think you should just mention once again why people should take their responsibility seriously about voting, especially women.
Well, our Constitution says that it's government by the people, for the people. And I think we all need to be there. Your vote makes a difference.
And it's a privilege, right?
It is a privilege and a duty. I think it's both, duty and privilege. There have been numerous occasions where a certain important decision passed by one vote. I think
you mentioned one about the language that was going to be used in the USA.
Yes.
And what were the languages in
It
contention?
was English or German.
And it passed by?
It passed by one vote.
One vote at the Senate or Congress?
I think it was the House, but I am not entirely sure. But I also know...
Otherwise we'd be having this conversation in German.
And the other thing is, in my community, we had an election in 1977, and the first selectman, which is what we have instead of mayor, was elected by one vote.
I see.
So your vote does count. It's important to vote. And, you're electing these people who will be making decisions for you that depend on you. How much local tax you pay, how much real estate tax you pay. All these things are set by the people you elect. So if you don't vote, you're depriving yourself of the right to choose the person that you wish to be there. Select your candidate.
So we should all remember that for the upcoming elections this year, and for the presidential one next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Jara. That was a lot of good information.
Thank you so much.
About the program. For those of you watching, I hope you enjoyed this show. If you have any questions, please write to practicaltalktime@yahoo.com, and we'll try to address your question as much as possible. If not, we'll send it over to the organizations to answer. I hope you enjoyed. If you can, please also try and tune in next week at the same time for more of wonderful information for you guys. Until next time, goodbye.